All right, guys, don't forget about Underdog Wireline, man. I'm doing a quick shout out for these guys. You know, they've been sponsoring us since day one almost, man. So it's a great guys, great company. You know, if you need a logged, perfed, you know, they do completion, open hole. They got they got drop guns, man. They got lay down machines. They got all kinds of stuff, dude. So check them out. Don't forget, I'm gonna put the number up right here. Look them up, man. They're great people. They know how to get it done. I worked with them personally out here, you know, especially on the wireline side. So I know exactly what they're doing. Their hands are out there helping out. So I've said it before. I'll say it again, man. Hit them up. They're the best out here. Give them a shout out, dude.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Patch Boys again, here to announce yet another sponsor, Branded 14 Hot Shot Services LLC. They offer hot shot work, ESP spooling, ESP technician service, and heavy hauling with semis. These guys are local. They're helping us out, so we want to help them out. Go give them a call at 432-638-1755. All the other information we're going to put right down here, so you guys can give them a call, send them an email, however you need to get in contact with them. We appreciate it.
All right, guys, we got a good episode today. We got Talor Nunez. He's a life coach for life coach, I'm sorry. Former Texas Tech, former Midland League football player. So, man, I'm really excited to have you on. I appreciate you coming on, sir.
Man, I appreciate it. Thank y'all for the invite.
Yeah, I know it was a little last minute. Thank you very much for coming in and giving us the time, and you know, we're excited to hear, you know, give everybody your intro. You know, let everybody know who you are and what you're about. And
yeah, so my name is Talor Nunez. I own a company called Talor Nunez Life Trainer, and what we do is we want to empower leaders to be able to not only train physically, but train spiritually and mentally. And that's really come through all the trials and tribulations in my life, that when I saw my dad on his deathbed and he had regrets, I realized that this life is very short, and I wanted to make sure that all of the things I was learning at Texas Tech, how I became a walk-on, how I was around great people, great athletes, great coaches, and they taught us how to train well. I was like, we need to translate this over into everything. And on top of that, you know, most people know me. I absolutely love telling people about the Bible. So we have the Oilfield Assembly podcast. It's with me, Lonnie Edwards, and Joseph Norman. They're also former Tech football players, and we're also in the oil field. So for me, it's awesome to be able to just pour out just spiritual nourishment and leadership on the podcast. That's been awesome. And then on top of that, I'm a board member for FCA. FCA actually changed my life, and we could talk more about that later. And I've dedicated my life to being a part of that. And so now with FCA, we've got Bible studies all over the Permian Basin in the public schools. We're now currently building a youth sports board, and y'all had Garrett on y'all's podcast recently. Garrett's one of our main FCA staff persons. He's awesome, great leader. And so we just continue to build leadership at every level here in West Texas. And for me, I'm a West Texas guy. I'm not going anywhere. And so I'm dedicated to being out here and continuing to pour into people. And then on top of that, recently I just signed with Midland College as an adjunct professor. And so I teach basically 2 times a month. It's a 2-day course. It's called Engineering for Non-Engineers. So my goal is to take field professionals like lease operators, foremen, superintendents, and take all that knowledge and teach them how to understand engineering concepts. And so in the last 2 classes that I've taught, we've had 4 of the students sign up to become engineers. So they're going back to school to get their engineering degree. So for me, I want to make sure that my life training business is attacking all areas. We're teaching spiritually with the podcast, with FCA. We're teaching mentally with, you know, the college is a great example, but we're doing other stuff. I'm creating online courses. And then creating just an environment where I can continue to pour into leaders. And so recently I've also been doing this, essentially they're called leadership seminars. And so I meet with service companies that are kind of the hit list right now, because I'm realizing, you know, I work for Diamondback full time. I'm a production engineer. And I see the operator just squeezing the service companies, and their margins keep getting squeezed every year. So I'm noticing that the only way that these service companies can survive, they need to invest in technology, and they need to invest in their people. So I was like, how do I do that? Well, then first, investing in people means teaching them how to lead, teaching them how to deal with people, deal with tough times. And then on top of that, teaching them how to have technology. You have to do that eventually. Because if you look at a lot of these service companies, they've got like, you know, they hit this point where it's like 200 employees. And if you ever ask people, you realize that it kind of maxes out there. And so there's this equation where it's like your labor times your technology to the whatever third exponent. if you're not investing in technology, that labor becomes a point where if you get more employees, you start losing in your profit margins. So you have to learn how to efficiently route your guys when they're trucking, route your guys when you're moving them, route them when they're doing, whatever it may be that you do in their service work. So for me, I come in and I spend like 4 hours leadership training, or we do a 4-hour constraint analysis with like the decision makers, and it's been so impactful. So my goal is to continue to get the word out and to keep meeting with these companies and showing them from an operator's viewpoint what they need to work on to be able to survive what's coming. Because what's happening is there's these merging of big companies, and now you're seeing the merging of the service companies, and you're going to have to figure out a way to survive and then thrive in that. Yeah. So there's so much that we could talk about, but man, I'm just so blessed and honored to be on y'all's podcast. I'm seeing the reach that y'all have. It's awesome. I also love the fact that y'all have so many different opinions on this podcast too. So it's an honor period to be on here.
Thank you. We appreciate that, man. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Just a little tidbit that you give is very interesting. Being in a service company myself, I'm seeing it unfold, right? And so I work for SLB. The merger with Champion X is currently going on. Do you ever have an issue with conflict of interest? Because it seems like you work on the side that's doing the squeezing, and you're trying to help the side that's getting squeezed, right? So,
no, not really. One, because for me, I don't control most of those decisions. Like, our company has gotten so big now that we're siloed, and so you only have one job, and that's it. When I started with Diamondback, we had 200 or so people. And that was almost 8 years ago, and so now we have almost 2,000. And so you only have like one job. And so for me, my one job is to make sure my wells are running well. Yeah. My team is doing a good job in the field, and just take care of them. Like, whatever that looks like, that's my job. And so for helping service companies out, if you can make these service companies better and they can serve us better, I don't see how that's a loss. We got to win on both sides. Right. I feel like when you're squeezing people naturally, that's just what happens being an operator. I don't think it's for most part, like, I don't think it's anybody trying to be evil. No. That's just the name of the game, right?
Yeah, I think people are, you go for your team, right? It's your side, and you're part of the negotiation on your side, right? Yeah, it's 100%. It's natural.
It is. Like, and we talk about it all the time. I'm on the production side, and we have our lifting cost. That's a big metric. And so your lifting cost is your amount of barrels you can get out of the ground divided by the amount of cost. Yeah. And so if you can decrease that cost, it makes a big difference. Sorry, cost per barrel, other way. It's your cost over the barrels. So if you increase the barrels, great. If you decrease the cost, great. And what happens is decreasing the cost usually comes with squeezing, the service company. Yeah. And so for the service company, you have to provide something that not only is competitive, but still has to be lucrative. And that's what I try to teach is like, guys, these are things that need to be non-negotiables. This is how you teach people how to move forward. I mean, I'll give you an example. I'm an engineer, and everyone hates engineers. I don't even like to tell people I'm an engineer because... Really? Yes.
Where? That's crazy.
Well, you just think about it. Like, everyone always is the one, they're always mad at the engineer. Yeah. And I agree with them. I vouch for them. I'm like, most of the time, engineers are the worst communicators. Yeah. And you have to learn how to communicate well to give the service company the best chance to serve you better. And on top of that, from the service company's viewpoint, you have to learn how to train. I'm being genuinely serious. Learn how to train the people that you're working with to show them what it is you need to succeed better for them. And so usually there's always a lack of relational uncertainty or informational uncertainty within the two. And that's what I'm noticing is probably the most important thing.
Yeah. I think the disconnect, it's not so much that people just hate engineers, right?
I think it is. I think he's not wrong. Like, in the field, you kind of get like that. Like, you hear a guy's like an engineer, you're like, oh, this guy, you know what I mean? Like,
you don't know nothing.
Yeah, this guy's going to give us crap. And, or you hear like, so I get what you're saying. Like, I don't really hate him, but it's like a weird thing. Like, sometimes guys have against them.
Yeah. I mean, I understand the disconnect where somebody's been working in their position for 15 years and then an engineer that just dropped in out of school or something. I get all that, but I mean, I think eventually, that doesn't last very long, depending on who the engineer. It has to do with attitude, personality.
Exactly.
It has to do with all that. It's not just, I get it. The whole engineer comes in straight out of school, and I've been busting my back for 20 years type shit.
Oh, yeah.
I've been dealing with that personally myself, right? But none of the engineers that I met are like meaning to like overstep or anything like that. So I always give them the benefit of the doubt until I get to know their personality and all of that. And then it's just if you're a bad person, you're a bad person. There's no
that's rough. So that's why I feel like these things cannot be split apart. Your spiritual growth, mental growth, physical growth, they cannot be different.
Yeah.
You must be growing in all areas. And so most people, they don't even know who God is, right? And so that's why I always say I try to relate to the Bible as much as possible. Yeah. Because if you can teach people that you're a screwed up person, I got you.
There you go.
If you can teach people that you're a screwed up person and that you were not born into like having a good heart, that you need saving, and that the only way to do that is by Jesus dying on the cross, you submitting to his authority. On the other side of that is spiritual blessings. On the other side of that is wisdom. On the other side of that is all the things that God has prepared for you that you cannot do when you're spiritually dead.
Yeah.
That's what I try to teach. And so if you look at that, okay, that's Taylor's goal for the oil field. If we can just transform hearts and learn how to communicate better, see what this guy wants, and then they do likewise, and we help each other out.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be this parasitic relationship. It should be mutual relationships, ongoing, constantly. This Permian Basin is so small. Like, yeah, we have a metroplex population.
Yeah.
But in reality, if you're one person away from knowing everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we need to learn how to take care of each other.
One huge network.
And honestly, it's crazy. Like, I mean, because I guess I see you deal with a lot of youth, and then you're also dealing with adults and men and grown men. So, I mean, I guess it's kind of neat how you're able to spread the word through the youth, but you're also able to do it as an adult, speaking to other men in the workforce, I'm guessing. Like, and I see you do it through your trainings and stuff like that too. And I think that's pretty neat how you do that. And you do the seminars. Like, how is that doing a seminar with people who are sometimes, I'm guessing, they're going to come a little hard headed. They're not going to want to participate. And I seen you do the ab challenge. That was pretty cool.
Yes.
But like, it's got to be hard to get them out of their little tight area. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the biggest thing for me is just building trust with all of these business owners. And so that's what I do is like, hey, guys, just give me a chance. I've already proven myself over and over. I've done this program and these processes so many times that I've seen us save $1 million internally and with other people. My guys, just trust me. When they finally trust me, so one of them was like HC Services, great company. And we have a leadership seminar on a Saturday morning. It's 8 a.m., even earlier than now. And you got 150 dudes. Most of them are like welders and older dudes that work in the shop, truckers, and they're like not about it. You can even tell like they're like, forget this. And by the end of the 3 hour or so session, they're like laughing, talking to each other because these guys don't talk to each other. All they do is show up and work and move forward, and they'll talk trash to each other. And it's like that's just a normal thing guys do. But when you finally get them to get out of their shell, when you finally put them in a position where they're uncomfortable, and then they have to execute, that's where you grow the most. I mean, I'm sure y'all have a sports background. When you think about when you played sports, what do you remember the most? It's not the games and the wins. It's the being with your teammates and growing with them. It's the going through off season and it sucked and you hated coach in that time frame, but you respect him now. And you grew closer to each other because you had to figure out a way to get through it. That's the reality. And so what I do is I say, okay, how do I push people in the professional realm to have that same feeling? And that's what we do with the leadership seminar.
Wow, that's good to say because me and him met through football. I mean, we played at Alamo, so and then we went to Lee and stuff like that. So I mean, we went through all the off season and stuff. So it was hard, huh? I remember
it was hard.
The ninth grade.
I'm assuming y'all did mat drills.
Oh yeah. And I was getting away with it because I was like, I had just lost a lot of weight, but I was always a lineman. Okay. So like they were letting me ride with them. And then one day coach was like, "Nah, we're putting you with the freaking skills. Corners and stuff like that." Oh, it was a whole other ball game, man. But.
Yeah, it was different, and it was a big skill level change when you went from junior high to high school.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, man, like you felt it. You felt the difference. But yeah, man, we always go back to our coaches. I know everybody that's listened to the podcast before, like they know we reminisce of our coaches and all that stuff. And that's the stuff we remember, the people that we meet and the interactions that we have. The football part, I mean, that goes. It doesn't matter if you went undefeated or you lost every single game or whatever, but it's about the games that you played, and
team, I guess,
situations that you had, and stuff like that.
So like you played for Lee, and I was gonna ask you this because I saw that you're a part of the Lee alumni, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you were a QB, right?
I was a quarterback in high school,
which is crazy because I saw that you were drafted as a safety, right? And then you became a lineman on the defense.
Yes.
And I was like, for Texas Tech, and I thought that was crazy because I was like, man, I don't know, that's a big leap from a QB to a safety and then to lineman, right?
It's not normal. Like God showed me in many different ways that He was in charge, and those are the things that I bask in just like His goodness. So like, I become a believer in 2011 through an FCA camp, and I attribute that to my wife. Like my wife is the one that basically she showed me the way, like she was memorizing scripture when I met her, and I was like, I'm not on that level. Like, what in the world? So I just started following in her footsteps, and then we went to an FCA camp. The Marks family, which is now the All-Star Classic, is named after the Marks family. They took us and many other kids since the 80s, since Spike Dike age. They took them out to camps like that, FCA camps, and kids were getting saved, and they were finding Jesus. And for me, that changed my whole life. So I'm a believer in high school, playing quarterback, and I was so selfish. God was molding me. He's always molding me, but I was rough, very rough edges. And I remember I just got humbled when I had no offers to go play college football. And I just had one opportunity, and it's funny, full circle. Coach Morton was my head coach. Baron Morton, who's the quarterback for Tag, just won the Big 12 championship. Like, that's my dude, man. Like, my younger brother played with Baron, and so we've known all of them, but Coach Morton vouched for me and gave me a spot, an opportunity to walk on at Tech. And that I walked on as a safety. Didn't even play safety in high school. It was just like, give this guy a chance. And when I got there, I realized I was a tackling dummy. Like, I'm not going to be able to play. And so I just said, like, how do I gain weight? And so they put me on the weight gain program. I had to eat initially it's 5,600 calories, but pretty much on average, 5,000 calories a day. Gain a pound a week, and you had to keep it over the weekend. So 20 pounds later, 40 pounds later, I moved to outside linebacker, and I played DN the rest of my career.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Was it 75 pounds?
Yeah, I pretty much played at about 275, 280. I went there at 200 pounds. I think I was 198 soaking wet was the actual weight when I went there.
Wow.
And so I got to play against some amazing guys. Coach Kingsbury was my coach, Jakeem Grant, Kiki Kuti, Dylan Cantrell, Terrence Steele plays for the Cowboys. I mean, like, you got so many guys. Brandon Jackson played for Seattle for a long time. You think about all these dudes that we just didn't have a good defense. Like, we would have had so many awards and won so many things if we would have just been disciplined on defense.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, and I did see that Kingsbury put out a nice speech about you on a video and stuff like that. And
yes, sir.
That's pretty awesome, man. I mean, he's a coach now for the
Commanders.
There you go. Yeah,
He's offensive coordinator for the Commanders.
I owe Coach Kingsbury everything. I owe him everything because when I was in my undergrad with engineering, second year in, I've been playing mostly on special teams, and I remember when he put me on scholarship, it was one of the greatest feelings ever because he's showing me on film and he's like, look at Talor, he's always running hard, and it's like during fall camp. He's always like outworking these guys, and I'm just like, I'm excited because I'm a walk-on. You're talking about me in the team meeting. And then he basically walks out of the meeting, closes the meeting, but before that door closes, he opens the door again, pokes his head in, and he's like, by the way, Nunez, you're on scholarship. And everyone just goes crazy, like, and I'm crying. Guys are smacking me in the head, giving me hugs, pushing me. And I just remember that was one of the biggest moments in my life, other than, marrying my wife and obviously most importantly, choosing God as my Lord and Savior. Yeah. And that changed everything for me because it paid for my undergrad in engineering, and then it paid for my master's in business. Yeah. And with Kliff, he actually got me into the MBA program. So I got this engineering award where I spoke at the engineering convocation, and I barely had the GPA to get that award. It was a 3.5 minimum. I had a 3.5, and I'm speaking at this convocation with 4.0 engineering students at Texas Tech. And I'm telling them, I'm like, y'all are smarter than me. I'm just very thankful for this award. I start talking about football. And so I sign up for this MBA program at the same time, and I don't get in. So I go to practice with Coach Kingsbury. This is my senior season. I'm like, hey, Coach, I don't know what they want in this program. Like, I just got the engineering award for Texas Tech, and they didn't let me into this STEM MBA program. And so he's like, don't worry about it. He comes back the next practice, and he goes, hey, check your email after practice. And I was like, all right. So I go check my email, and it says, recently you weren't accepted, and now you're accepted.
Nice, man. Yeah. That's pretty cool, though. You know what I mean? Like, that's a great story. And it's awesome because, you know, Kingsbury's, like, you see him on the sidelines and stuff like that, and that's pretty neat that you know the guy.
He's got an aura, man. Kingsbury's always had an aura, you know. Mm-hmm. I was upset at him because he deferred the Raiders and went off to the Commanders.
He hurt you, man.
Yeah, he hurt me bad. It was already announced he was our offensive coordinator, and I mean, he chose a quarterback, which I can't blame him. Hindsight now, right? I can't blame him for wanting to work with Jaden Daniels, right? But
dude, he's a quarterback whisperer.
Yeah.
Like, think about, I tell people all the time, think about all the quarterbacks that Coach Kingsbury had when he first started. So he brings in, you had Michael Brewer, who was already at Tech. He doesn't even get the spot that first year with Coach Kingsbury, so he leaves, starts at Virginia Tech. You have Davis Webb and Baker Mayfield. That we're all the same age. So me and Baker walked on that same year. And so Baker wins the spot. Baker then gets hurt. He doesn't get scholarships. He goes to Oklahoma, does his thing, right, wins the Heisman, wins championships. And so now he's still in the NFL. You have Davis Webb, who takes over, and he's with us for at least a season and a half before he gets hurt. Davis then stays for another year, and he trains Pat, who takes his spot. Davis then gets drafted after going to Cal, and he gets drafted to the Giants, and now he's a coach in the NFL. And then you have Patrick Mahomes, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play in the game. Yeah. And they were all on campus within 2 years of each other. Coach Kliff brought all of these guys in or was a part of influencing them.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he'll be a head coach soon.
That's wild,
soon.
Man.
If not this year, very soon. But the way things are going in Washington, you would think a succession will happen there. I mean, if I was running that team, I'd be like, yeah, man, sorry, Dan, it didn't work out, and immediately make Kliff the head coach. Yeah. I think he's gonna get a lot of looks.
He's brilliant, and you think about all the guys that Coach Kingsbury was taught with, was in that Leach era, and you got all the guys like Lincoln Riley, all of these dudes, Holmgren, they were all in like the same era, and so it's interesting to see how many big name people have come out of Texas Tech.
But he's so young. Like
who, Kliff?
Yeah. I mean, as far as the people that he was surrounded by, he was kind of slept on because he was so young. And then, I mean, all the stuff with Kyler Murray and the Cardinals and stuff. I still think the success that he had, it's been proven that Kyler Murray was a little bit difficult to work with. It's proven with all the coaches that he's gone through now, right? So I think with what he did with Jaden Daniels, I mean, obviously you can't do anything about injuries, but I think he's going to get a long, hard look. I would love for him to be the head coach. If you're listening, fool.
He's like,
don't do that. Don't do that shit to me again, bro. It hurt my feelings.
I wanted to ask you too, though. Like, I know I've seen you like involved with FCA a lot. Like, how long have you been doing that now? I know you said it was a big thing for you.
I mean, I've pretty much been in some way a part of FCA since 2011 when I went to that first FCA camp. Okay. So I've either been. It initially was like just a part of the huddle at Lee. And then eventually going to camp, and then I became camp huddle leader with my wife. And then over time, I went to Tech, and Corbin Young, who's now one of the head guys for FCA for this region, or most of the Texas region, he was the area director here. Then I went to Lubbock, and we started, I didn't say we started, but we had an FCA huddle in Lubbock at Texas Tech. Corbin then moved there, becomes the chaplain. He's now the chaplain at Texas Tech. He's the guy like saying the prayer right after Joey McGuire gives his big speech that everyone's seeing all over social media. Wow. So Corbin Young and I and other people like David Sparkman, they all discipled me while I was at Lubbock. And then I went through other discipleships. I had, y'all had Lori Blong on the podcast recently. So her husband actually did discipleship with me before I ever even went to college. So I had so many men pour into me and train me over, a long period of time. And then with FCA, after leaving Texas Tech, I came back to Midland. Coming back to Midland was really after my dad passed away, lost my grandpa, and me and my wife lost our first child. And this is all within a 4-month span of my senior season. And so deciding to come back to Midland really was, hey, I want to be there to help my mom out and be around my brothers. I have 3 younger brothers, and they're all talented and awesome. I had Caleb, who's in the Air Force, played football at the Air Force Academy. Isaiah, who played at the Air Force Academy with him. Then when Caleb graduated, he transferred to play football at West Texas A&M with my baby brother. And so all of us have had like some form of stint of college football and gotten to see that experience. And so for me, when I came back to Midland, I wanted to be a part of FCA. So at the time, Mr. Marks, who took me to that first camp in 2011, he's fighting cancer. And so I took over the Bible study, or what we call the huddle, at Lee. And after that, it slowly started to grow, where our board started to grow. You have people like Marcus Gardner, amazing leader. He comes in and becomes the district leader for, not the district leader, but our leader for FCA here in the Permian Basin. He builds a team of amazing people. Like, we have a solid board right now. And that really is what kickstarted even more growth here. We started the All-Star Games, which I'm sure your son's heard about it.
Yeah.
Y'all have seen it around the Permian Basin. So that's been a huge thing for us. All-Star Games have been amazing. And we pretty much had about a couple huddles or Bible studies when I came back in 2018. Right now, from our board meeting that we just had recently, we have almost 50 Bible studies in the public schools.
Wow.
And so they're official Bible studies being led by coaches or athletes, and they're just reading the Bible, man. And so you look at that growth, and I've been a part of amazing leadership teams. And for me, like I've just said, like, my heart is always there. I will always give to FCA because of what it did for me.
Hey everybody, Patch Boys here. We want to do this quick short so we can provide some information about our new sponsors, Underdog Wireline. You can see I'm wearing their merch here. So I just want to tell you a few things that they provide. Of course, they're in Wireline. In Wireline, they provide pump down, logging, pipe recovery services, and as well production work. And some of the other stuff that they provide, they have emergency shower trailers and cool down trailers for rent. At the end of this, we're going to put their contact information. They believe in us, we believe in them, and I think we're a match made in heaven. We appreciate all the support, and we hope that you support Underdog Wireline as well. Thank you guys. Hey, what's up, everybody? Patch Boys again, here to announce yet another sponsor, Branded 14 Hot Shot Services LLC. They offer hot shot work, ESP spooling, ESP technician service, and heavy hauling with semis. These guys are local. They're helping us out, so we want to help them out. Go give them a call at 432-638-1755. All the other information we're going to put right down here, so you guys can give them a call, send them an email, however you need to get in contact with them. We appreciate it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Patch Boys here. Blessed again to be announcing another sponsor for us. This one's going to be Titan. They're running out of crane. They're real close to me. It's family. So we want you guys to support them like they support us, right? So they're running out of crane. If you want to get in contact with them, it's 432-307-1960. Some of the stuff that they offer right now, if they have rustabout maintenance crews, trash trailers, porta potties, combo trailers, forklifts, and they're adding more stuff every single day. So if you guys want to support them so they can continue to support us and give you all the content that you want, go ahead and give them a call. Thank you.
And if it changes one life, I know what that trajectory looks like, even for myself, what that could do for anybody. And so now I've been on the board with FCA. I was a ministry lead for a little bit with the All-Star event the last few years. That's been handed off to Justin Garrett, who was with FCA with my wife in high school. And so you see all these great leaders that over time we're all getting connected again, and there's a lot of really big name people that are involved in this. So for me, I love the fact that I can build teams. Everything I'm doing with leadership is bringing in more people for FCA. Everything I'm doing with the podcast and everything else, it's our goal is to disciple the nations. Go and make disciples, baptize them, and teach them to obey the commands that God already taught them. Like, it's simple.
Yeah,
it's very, very simple.
I think it's a great program. I mean, I saw that. I didn't know that they kept them for a whole week, and then like they just did like a worship and Bible and or huddles, what you're calling them, and
yes, sir.
Well, studies, right? Bible studies. But it was just like, I thought it was pretty neat how they did all that through the week, and they kept them pretty much in tune. Like, hey, we're gonna just go through the week, and I mean, I think it sinks in one way or another, and it gives these athletes another game. Another game might be their last game, but it's another game that they have, and I think it goes a long way. You know, it means a lot to these players, and at least for us, it was really neat to see. I was really excited about it, you know. But I think what FCA does is awesome. Like, you know,
I love it.
I really appreciate it.
I would also be remiss to not shout out Dustin, who was our board leader, or not our board leader, but our area director. He has blown this thing up even more, and so now the discipleship that he has done here in the Permian Basin has grown so much that they now moved him up in FCA to the discipleship of all of the state.
Wow.
So they're like, what you did here, I need you to teach other people how to do it everywhere else.
Yeah.
And so we're all like-minded. Like, if you talk to anybody else on our board, we're all trained with the same discipleship training, the same discipleship tools. If you go watch our Oilfield Assembly podcast, same discipleship tools. Every single discipleship training I've been a part of, I've just like put it all together. And like, if you look at it, it's the same exact thing. Shouldn't be a surprise. It's coming straight from the Bible. Yeah. But we're just doing the same thing over and over. Let's teach the young kids. Let's teach the junior high kids. Let's teach the high school. Let's teach the college. Let's teach the professional oil field.
Yeah.
If we can just tap in to every age group and you're just building leaders. I think that's one thing that people have a hard time with in the Western world, is that we always try to convert to disciple in churches. Like, if you notice that, it's always about the numbers, sadly, but that's the reality. Oh, so-and-so got baptized, and we write it on our, ministry thing. So-and-so got baptized, this many people got converted. But in the world where people are getting killed for being believers, we give to like Mission India and Catalytic Ministries and all these other ministries where you have to be an underground church, and you meet in small communities, Bible studies, the same way we do FCA. And these kids are getting baptized and coming out of the water knowing people are coming to kill them.
Yeah.
That's the difference, is that over there's real persecution. Over here in America, there's not persecution.
Yeah.
And most people be like, well, why would you ask for that? Because it's a catalyst. It catalyzes growth. Like, as in sports, you don't grow until it gets bad. Like, you don't grow together until things get bad. And so I'm not asking for terrible things to happen. I'm just saying we don't have persecution here. And so for us, we have to learn as leaders how to push our own persecution to get better. Working out. Well, I got to make it harder for me so I can get stronger. It's no different. Spiritually, hey, I need to learn how to fast. I need to make things hard so I can learn how to tap into the spiritual realm and skirt off the fleshly desires of my body. So these are the kind of things that we're trying to teach and train all around.
Wow. I mean, I love that, man. I mean, especially because I feel like right now it's been like a big movement. Like, like I know you've seen it with all the sports athletes, and, it says out in the Bible, right? God's going to call his people and people will come. And I just think I think it's awesome to see. And like, have you seen it yourself though? Like, you dealing with the kids, know what it's like. Do you see it yourself in those children?
Absolutely. So the statistics are proving right now that the younger generation is drinking less alcohol. They are having more anxiety, and they're less connected. And so it's interesting. But on top of that, the statistics are also showing, like Pew Research and those other ones, that more of the younger generation is going to church by themselves. Whereas our generation, especially like the Hispanic generation, you're like forced to go, to somewhere. It's just like what you do. And so you're never connected. You never have your own relationship. These younger kids, they're owning this thing. I believe there is a revival that is spurring up in the younger generation, and it's working. I'll give you the example. Like right now at Lee, I got a guy named Tucker, and I've discipled him for at least a couple years now. And that dude, I'll put him up. He's, 17, 18 years old. I'll put him up against anybody when it comes to going and teaching the word. The dude studies. He teaches. He has guys that he's discipling right now that he's getting them to disciple other guys. So you're talking about other people discipling me discipling him discipling these guys. And then once you pass that third level of discipleship, it grows on its own. Like, it works in ways that you cannot understand. So you go look at what he's doing. He was the main speaker at our Fields of Faith in Midland. He's discipling kids everywhere. I challenged them to create more Bible studies, and I challenged them to utilize their platform. Well, these kids started their own social media account, MTX, Daily Scripture. There's another one. There's a Greenwood one. And these kids are sending videos of them just reading Scripture and saying what they learned. I mean, it's like a minute long. and they're doing it every single day, and they're reaching other countries with these videos.
Yeah.
So you have no idea the amount of influence that you have by just spending time in training leaders.
Yeah, that's crazy. I believe what you said about the children. Like, the reason why our family turned to Christ within these past few years, or I think a year and a half, was because of my daughter. Like, she wanted something more, and I knew she kind of wanted. I just didn't have the guts to do it, and she pushed us. She was like the one in the ear, like, I want to go to church. I want to go. And we're like, we'll go, and but then we finally went. But I saw that in her, like, she had that strength, and we feel like that she's like anointed, man. Like, she just
That's
preaches,
awesome.
and I got to give it a lot to her. And it's my daughter Aubrey. But yeah, she pushed our whole family to that, and I believe what you're saying. Like, and you're right about the kids. I've seen a lot of, like, especially with my son's friends, like, like they would tell him, like, why don't you go to church and stuff like that. And I'm like, dang, I don't, what I mean? It's like different to hear when your 17-year-old's telling your 16-year-old is at the time, like, hey, they're kind of giving me a little stuff because I'm not going really, And I was like, it just kind of really was different to see. And then you see the kids growing up and how they're talking, and you're right though. I think they are going on their own, and they want to do more. They want to learn more.
Yes.
It's crazy to see that though.
I love that. So right now, I started coaching my daughter's flag football team this past fall. And the only reason I did it, so like, I'm a football guy. So if I am coaching football, I'm all in. I can't be like half in. Yeah. And I have to pull myself back because I know my own pride and my own selfishness to like get too involved. And the only reason I coached this fall was because I missed the deadline. I told her I would sign her up, and I missed it. And she was like upset that she was on the wait list. And I said, hey, we're probably not going to play. Well, I couldn't see her upset, so I called the commissioner. I said, will you just give me all the waitlist kids? I'll make a new team. So they did, and it was the most fun season I've ever had, like, being around sports. And that's crazy for me to say because I got to play at the highest level in college. But these kids, what I dedicated to them, as I said, I'm going to teach them the gospel, which what we teach in FCA is the 4. And so it's just a heart, God loves you, the division sign, sin separates us from him, the cross, which is Christ rescues us, and the question mark, will you trust him? And so we did it with hand signals. I was like, God loves us. Then we did division sign, sin separates you. And then we said, Christ rescues you. And then he said, will you trust him? And so we would do it every single time we practiced. And we get to the game, we do it every single time in the game. And then we had a prayer that I made. It was like 6 lines, short prayer. And I just would say it every single time. And one of my younger kids, the one that doesn't even play that much, he memorized it by himself. And it was his prerogative to say the prayer by the end of the season. And so he would say this prayer boldly over them after games and after practices. Mm-hmm. And for me, that is more important than anything, is teaching these kids to have fun, build camaraderie, and teaching them the gospel. So all of them, they can share the 4. They can share the gospel. I had them for a month and a half. So my goal now is, if there's any dads or moms, parents that are teaching and coaching youth sports, which now we're building our youth sports program for FCA, we're going to be able to multiply that here in the Permian Basin. It's very simple, it's very easy, and we're going to do that here. And so what I'm seeing is, if you teach them at the youngest point, because what is Satan doing? Satan is trying to steal our children's innocence right now. Go look at everything that's going on. I mean, I was watching what was it, that Sean Ryan podcast, and he's got that hacker dude on there, and they found these people that have these like sex rings, and they're tapping in and basically coercing children through Minecraft, Roblox. These chat rooms, these people are literally sextorted into getting these kids to send a sexual photo or something, and then they blackmail them. And majority, the stats is insane. It breaks my heart. It makes me so angry. Majority of the kids don't want their parents to know, because they threaten them with it, that they'll just take their lives. And then they'll sextort those kids to be the sextortionists for other kids. And so if we got to wake up to the reality that there's a war going on for the hearts and minds of our children. Yeah. And so we have to battle that. And what better way than to teach leaders that are already coaching sports how to know the gospel? Even if they don't understand it, that's fine. But just teach them what is good, what is right, what is important, what is right standing. If you're doing those things, Satan doesn't like that. You are dangerous to him, and that's my goal, is to build dangerous disciples.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean,
man.
that's deep, and you're right. I did see that thing on Sean Ryan and stuff, and I know it's crazy. It's scary to see
It's
that
not,
stuff.
Yeah.
it's not surprising though.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you hear it, and it's not surprising. Just the way everything's moving, and it's crazy. We have to do the same thing and use technology in our favor, and hopefully put out stuff that is leading children the right way. Like Angel Studios is something that I love right now, right? For kids. And as soon as I make it a big deal, because everybody else makes it a big deal with, anything new coming out from Disney or anything like that. And so the girls get excited for that. But you don't get the same. Nobody counters that, or until now, right? And now people are getting excited about these movies coming out of Angel Studios, like David that's coming out. Like, we got our tickets ready already, and I'm gonna take the girls.
I love it.
And the thing about it is that I like the stuff that you're saying, because we have to believe. And I mean, I know that word is not as aggressive as it should be, right? But we have to believe that there is evil out there, and a lot of people don't believe that evil is going to happen, or that evil is looking to corrupt your family, your children. And if you believe that, then you also got to believe that there's salvation, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so that's what I'm trying to let my girls know, and let them. I'm not trying to scare them. I'm just simply trying to make them aware, and then let them know that there's an answer to that, right?
Yeah,
there's an answer to everything. We don't, and it's with simple things, right? And I use the movie as an example, right? Because you know what? We're not going to watch the SpongeBob movie because it's coming out at the same time. But we can watch this movie, and it'll be just as exciting, and I'll make it just as fun, and we'll go check it out, right? Not saying anything about SpongeBob. I'm just using it as a
It
comparison,
has
right?
gotten worse than what we grew up with. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's why there has to be an answer. Maybe back then we didn't have to answer so strongly or boldly as we do now, but now we do. It's just what it is.
Yeah, we as men, we're the protectors of the household, and the reality is that Satan is okay with false converts. He's also okay with baby believers never being discipled into maturity. You know what he's also okay with for men is he's okay with them being present without being present. I mean, look at Adam. Like, you can just clearly study just the fall in Genesis. It says that he's right next to her while she's talking to the serpent. Like, what would have happened if she grabbed that fruit and he just smacked that bad boy right out of her hand? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But the reality is that's where it started from, is men not being the leaders. Men being present, but they're not present. Yeah. You might physically be there, but you're not there.
It makes a lot of sense, and I can relate to that a lot, especially if you're not leading them towards Christ like you're supposed to, and it's just they just see you come home, they just see you work, they see you I don't know, maybe you get stressed out, maybe you got these, you know what I mean, like they just see that, but they don't see you leaning on nothing, they don't see you praising or looking to to the Lord, and I think that's a big difference for a child to see in a father, or especially a husband, and I know it's hard for husbands too, especially with just life itself, stress and stuff, and you trying to be a follower of Christ and turn away from sin, and it's all that. But I mean, that's when I have to remember that you can't do it on your own. You got to look to the Lord, and that's the only way to get through it, right?
Yep.
But I think that what you're saying is awesome too. I mean, it's I feel like this year for us has been we've been, I like to bring guys on, especially that are big in the Christian faith, that push it, because I like to push our platform on that, because I always tell you all the time, man, I just want one person to hear the word right, and then it could maybe change them a little bit on their views, because that's what it took me, was just one way to say it and one way to feel it, and that's it, man. You know what I mean? And I think what you're saying, reading the Bible starts with the youth, and just kind of getting them going like that is awesome. Like the way it's taught.
Well, I appreciate it, man. What my goal is to continue to recruit men that are ready for battle, that are ready for tough times, that are ready to take on hard things, and train them up. That's my goal. Period.
Yeah.
And so if I've got men that are like, hey, I'm struggling, I want to get in that battle. Okay, let's run. Let's go. Because I've got a group of guys that you can run with.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so awesome. And that's one thing too, I've noticed with athletes that, once they're done playing football, whatever, it's hard for them to find something
purpose,
else, a
that
purpose,
Yes.
right? Like, and I know you've seen that, right? And I just want to know your opinion. I know, like, teaching them the word is good for them, but what do you think about that? Like, when they come out and they got nothing else and they don't know what to do, and that emptiness feeling.
Oh yeah, I mean, like when a sport is your idol and that is all you have, and that's your personality, that's who you are, and then you lose that, you have lost your personality, and it wrecks your world.
Yeah.
It wrecks it. So that's why we got to teach these kids young. Their sport is not your identity. That is not who you are. Who you are is what God says you are if you believe in Him. And what He says about you is pretty impressive. I've actually been praying on this even recently. It says that in the Bible, it talks about how our wives, we are supposed to take care of them, treat them well, knowing that they're the weaker vessel, that we're supposed to protect them. And it says, because they are co-heirs of all spiritual blessings of heaven. Sit in that and think about it. If you had, say, a fiance or a significant other that you knew they had like a royal bloodline, or they were heirs to billions of dollars, like, how would you treat them every day, knowing that, like, you may never have to work again, and that the blessings of billions of dollars would eventually be in y'all's hands together because she's a co-heir of that thing. That changes how you treat somebody. Sadly, that's selfish and sounds terrible, but that's the reality.
Yeah.
Now think about if your wife has spiritual blessings that are of heaven, all of them. That's what Scripture says. How much more so do you treat your wife differently? How do you serve and guide and are there for her in every single way? Like, even for me, I have to have my mind changed on this specific thing. And then now look at everybody else. Anybody else that's a brother and sister in Christ, they're co-heirs with you of all spiritual blessings in heaven. That's on a whole nother level of thinking that is very hard for anyone to understand. But when you do understand that, now you respect people on a whole nother level. And you can look at someone who's not a believer. They're addicted to drugs. They're lost, dead in their trespasses and sins. But they might come to believe because you came and loved on them. Mm-hmm. And they may not be now, but God already knows, because it says He predestined them since the beginning of time, since before Genesis 1:1, that they would be believers. You don't know if they might also be co-heirs and they needed you to come talk to them and love on them. You have no idea. So, like, it changes how you see people, period.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a great way to look at it, man. I never, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're right. I mean, you think about it, you know, you got money coming, you know what I mean? And you never think of it like that. That's crazy, man. You know, and I love how you say that, because you're right, man. You know, and I shared that today earlier with your wives, and you know what I'm saying? I love how you kind of put that out, like, because, you know, some guys do use it the wrong. You need to submit to your husband and all this stuff. Yeah. But there's more to it than just that. It's not, man. You can't use it that way. It's just people, like, you know, using the words wrong, you know what I'm saying? Twisting the words. But I think that was awesome how you put that in a perspective in that part.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking about that, like the Oilfield Assembly.
Yes, sir.
So, like, what got you, so how did that start? And also, yeah, I love how y'all do the outdoors.
Oh, yeah.
Set up, I was telling them about it. I was like, yeah, they just set up and they go for it, man. So.
Yeah, so I had initially, when I started my leadership business, my dream was to have the podcast of some sort that was completely free, resources that are all biblical resources. And so I invested in this, you know, the speaker thing that it like pulls all the sound out of the environment. So my goal was like, hey, I want to record by a drilling rig. I want to record by a completion rig. I want to be wherever, whenever, be around the people that are doing the work and preach and read the Bible together. And initially I was going to do it with Marcus and Dustin, the guys that were leading FCA. And for whatever reason, it just wasn't meant to be, just timing and everything. Well, then I started getting to know Lonnie really well and getting to know Joseph really well. And I was like, wow, God, this is it. So we meet together, plan the podcast out, and it was like, just hit the ground running, you know, just like y'all did. And my goal was just train leaders in the oil field with biblical principles. That's it. And we just trained all the discipleship tools in season 1. So everything that we teach in FCA, the E3, we engage, we equip, we empower, all the tools necessary to lead a Bible study, how to share your testimony, how to find people, persons of peace that are not, you know, maybe they're willing to talk to you, maybe they're not. These are all biblical principles. We teach all of those in season 1. Now we're in season 2, and my goal is to go through the whole Bible, the highlights of it. So if you were to go through all of season 2 of the Oilfield Assembly, you're going to be able to understand where you are in the timeline, why you're reading what you're reading, and what's in order, so that you know, like when you start reading deeper, okay, I know, well, this is going to happen next with Saul. This already happened with Abraham. This is the reason for these things to happen. So the goal of me is to just basically throw these seeds on a public platform to try to tap and bring in more strong men and women that want to keep growing as leaders. And so it's kind of like casting the giant net, right? Yeah. And then whichever ones become the ones that become the cream of the crop, the ones that want to grow, we're going to pour into them. Wow. And there's been so much life change from this podcast. It's been insane. Internally, for me, for Lonnie, for Joseph, like, it's changed our marriages. It's changed our everything. It also puts a standard on us. Like, you can't talk about the Bible and not live it.
For sure.
You can't do that. And on top of that, what else it comes with is you have actual spiritual attacks when you're doing stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I have felt and seen these things. Mm-hmm. And so it has helped me become a stronger spiritual warrior for my family, for my brothers, for everyone around us. It's changed my mentality.
Yeah. I get that, because you don't want to be a hypocrite.
No, you can't. You cannot. Like, you do not want, like, and if you're walking in the Spirit, I love Lonnie's phrase all the time. Lonnie's like, I'm just going with the Spirit on this one, and then he answers a question. Mm-hmm. and I love it. I want to, like, put that on a t-shirt. Like, I'm just going to go with the Spirit on this one. But it's true. Like, when I've learned how to just walk in the Spirit, and God just lands things in my lap, and all I need to do is just listen to him and execute. Mm-hmm. I said this on the last episode that hasn't come out yet. My daughters, they were having a rough day the other day, and I was like, it's so simple. I'm going on this, like, rant. I'm frustrated. Like, I'm even praying to God out loud. God, like, help me not beat my children right now for them not listening and just being ungrateful, spoiled brats. And my girls are awesome. I love them to death. They're just having a rough day. You know, they're 7 and 2. I have high standards.
Yeah, that happens.
we got daughters, man, so we know.
So,
you know?
I'm like, oh my goodness. And I just told my oldest, I was like, all I ask you to do is to be thankful and obey. If you would just be thankful and quit being so like, oh, why is this way? Why is that way? Why does she have that? If you would just be thankful and you would just obey, this life would be so easy for you. And then I, like, almost got in tears, because I was like, God hit me in the chest. Like, I'm telling you the same thing.
Yeah.
All I'm asking you to do is to be thankful and obey. And what does all of Scripture say? It is the will of God to be thankful in all circumstances. It is the will of God that you would guard my commands. It's the will of God if you obey my commands. If you read Judges 2, it says, because they didn't obey my commands, it's going to be hard for them. If you obey my commands, then it will go well for you. It will be prosperous for you. God's telling me, you, everybody, the same thing. All I'm asking you to do is to be thankful and obey. And I was like, gosh, why is it? It's so simple, yet so so tough.
It is.
It is, man. It is. I get it, though. I got teenagers, man. So,
it breaks me. Like, God breaks me all the time and wrecks me. And sometimes I'll catch myself laughing, and, you know, my wife will be like, why are you laughing? Like, it's okay. Like, I'm just laughing at my foolishness. Like, I'm laughing at what I used to be.
Oh, yeah. I get it. And you know what? Like you said, with your, like, you know, with the guys that you do the podcast with, and how it kind of, like, you know, helps y'all out, right? I think me and him have talked about that plenty of times. I mean, just us talking to each other, and, you know, just us having our conversations, and it just really, like, helps out, man. It just, you know, it's really wild what that does to some guys.
Putting what's in your mind into words and having an outlet to express yourself. It's and you grow. We grow after each hour or hour and a half or whatever it is that we're on the podcast with someone having a conversation, or just with each other having a conversation, and you get somebody else's point of view or struggle or whatever it is. It helps you grow. Even that, it's very incremental, but every time that we're on the podcast and you're trying to send a message or give a message to whoever else is listening, you kind of forget about the people that are sitting here, right
here.
And so for us these conversations, like, slowly but surely we absorb them. We absorb all these interactions that we have, people's point of views, and everything. We're sponges, like I said, and everything has its consequence. And I can think for us, the consequence is growth. And we're not particular. I wouldn't say we're particular, but I feel like we're pushed in a certain way and speaking to certain people. And like we've said it before, like God put this together. We ended up speaking to each other for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been one of the main things that this podcast has been about, is just kind of, this was last minute. And Ricky was like, yeah, you want to get him on? I'm like, yeah. It's kind of, I kind of started like comparing the podcast to the movie Yes Man. And I do this all the time, right? Because we could always be like, man, nah, we're not gonna do that one, right? Because we just don't want to get into it, or we don't feel it, and that has happened, right? That has happened. Maybe it's not gonna work out, maybe it's whatever. But I think we really got into that state of mind where it's like, yeah, man, let's do it. I don't think in the last, I don't know how, maybe the last year, we just like, hey, you want to do it? Like, yeah. Ricky asked me out of respect, and like if I think that it'll be an issue, I'll say it back to him. But more and more now, it's just like, yeah, let's just go for it. Let's just go for it. Let's do it. And it's an opportunity. It's always an opportunity to learn and get to know somebody else and just open up a whole another side of things, always with a different person. It's yeah.
And I think like when we had Garrett on, Carter, man, that guy really spoke to me. Like
Garrett's legit.
Yeah, man.
Dude, he sunk in with me for months.
We didn't have to say anything, honestly. If we were just like, hey man, just speak, and we'll just be here to nod and listen to you, right? But yeah, he really spoke to us, man. He's got a way with words. I told him too. I was like, man, you have a way with words, and it's crazy because people, will take a look at him and be like, there's no way he's so soft and gentle. You know what I mean? With his words, it really is. Like, he's just a very strong person, and you can tell he has a very strong character. And the stuff that he's been galvanized by, right, in his past. But man, his words are they're soft and gentle, and it's easy to accept him, right? It's easy to listen to him. He's
a presence, man. You walk in, that guy, he's just
so I look up to him. I'm 6'3". I look up to him. But I met Garrett when we had our Fields of Faith in McCamey. And that was maybe 3 years ago now. And he was barely on the role of, understanding discipleship, leadership. And then when he joined FCA, dude, it was just like, just catalyst. And everything he does, everywhere he's at, he's just breathing life into every room he walks into.
Yeah.
And so you just think about, like, if God does that with one person that went through some awful, tragic experiences, like how much more so can anybody else that's dealing with struggles and awful things right now in the Permian Basin, what God can do with those people.
Yeah, for sure. One thing that sunk with me when he at the FCA, this last one, he said, did a speech, and he said, when I gave my life to Christ, it turned me into a big baby. And that sinks in so hard to me all the time. To my wife, man, I just like, I see things or hear things I just want to.
You feel.
Dude, really. Yeah.
Man.
And I kind of use that saying, that helps me a lot deal with it. Because, like sometimes as a man, you don't want to look emotional. Like, that's just kind of where you've been at, right? Like, you don't want to look emotional to your family or your kids. But like for me, when he said that to me, it kind of just gave me like a little, it's okay. You know what I mean? I'm not going to break down and, you know what I'm saying? But it's okay to shed a tear and feel something, For
sure.
Like, so I always got I want to thank him on that. I know I don't know if he's heard it, but I've said it a few times already. I really appreciated that when he said that.
That's cool. I'm sure he'll hear it after this, man. I think that's another thing for men. We are being taught by the culture how to be men, and that's a problem. Like, we need to we need to go relearn what God has already defined as a man.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things, like, for the Hispanics, I always say, you have this like machismo type profile that you're told to be like, you don't get to feel, you don't get to cry, you just have to be the man. But the reality is the unintended effect of being that machismo man doesn't allow you to hear the emotions of the women in your life. It doesn't allow you to open other people's minds and allow them to open up. And so you cause wounds that you don't understand because you're trying to be too tough. There's a time to be. I tell my daughter all the time. There's a time to be quiet. There's a time to laugh. There's a time to be tough. There's a time to be soft. And you have to understand when those times are and to execute in those time frames.
Yeah. It's very difficult. It's very difficult. Like I grew up, like I've said before, in the first generation, household. Like it's completely different now. The life that I'm trying to live and teach to my daughters is very difficult. It's very difficult for me. I always say it would have been easier for me to have boys. For sure, it would have been easier for me to have boys, but was it what I needed? Probably not, right? And it's funny because yesterday we were out at my daughter's school and I saw all the boys running around, and I've become so accustomed of the softness that comes with my girls that I was like, man, I don't think I could be I could raise a boy at this point. Like, I just feel like it's so difficult. I see these moms, and shout out to all the moms, right? Because man, they do so much, and I see these moms going after their boys, and I'm just like, man, we have it good. And
yes.
don't get it wrong. My 1-year-old's a terror, but she's still soft. You see the softness, and it helps cope with that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Because she all of a sudden, one hug after a day of terror just softens me right up.
Yes,
you know what
good.
I mean? And it's just like, all right, I get it, dude.
Yeah, I love you.
Yeah.
So that's another thing I like to share with people when it comes to like that love of your child. Mm-hmm. That when you can finally understand that as a father, it truly changes how you see yourself with God.
Yeah.
Because if you think about when you first carried that child, you first got to hold that baby. Mm-hmm. You look at that baby and you're like, you could do nothing wrong.
Yeah.
And there's no more love that I could give to you than right here in this moment. Yeah. And as they grow up, you feel the same way. And but for us, we're so hard on ourselves, right? Like people that are believers that are trying to do the right thing, we beat ourselves down like, oh man, like God, like I'm so frustrated myself and this and that. And then it pulls you away from God, which is what Satan wants, when you're supposed to reel yourself in. And just think about like when your kids do bad things, you want them to come to you, admit it, you want to teach them, but then console them. You want them nearer and closer to you.
Yeah.
But naturally, spiritually for us with God, we naturally do the opposite and push away and run away. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, you haven't talked to them for days or weeks, and you haven't even that Bible's getting pretty dusty pretty quickly. And so, like, when you actually see the way you are as a father, and then now try to think infinitely as the father looking down on you, it changes your perspective on that relationship.
Yeah.
Wow. Dang, that's a pretty good, you got some good, like, I don't know what to call them. Like,
some good lines.
Yeah, they really are good. Like, cause, it makes me think, like you're saying, like, holding that baby when you're first, I haven't thought about that in a long time, my daughters, get older, and when you hold that first one or that, it's just both of them, but you're like, it's different,
Like they could do something terrible, and you're like, well, that's still my daughter.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, like let's go figure that out, and let's get you out of that situation. Let's learn from it. Let's not do it again. But like, you're still my daughter.
Yeah.
That love ain't going nowhere. I don't love you less because of what you did.
Yeah, and it is a difficult thing to get them to understand, right? Because you get onto them, and I immediately go into explaining why I did it, and then followed up by a hug or loving on them or letting them know I love you no matter what or whatever. And it's really hard to explain to them. And I do it all the time with my oldest, not my youngest yet, obviously, because she's just she's right. Still, but with my oldest, she's really introspective for a kid her age. She's always thinking about how she feels. Mm-hmm. And I'm always telling her, I feel bad. I was like, don't worry about it, just pray. And that's because that's what I learned. I'm not saying I have this, this. I'm always thinking about that or anything. But my response has come from my mother. My mother, that was her response to everything. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what happens. It does not matter what happens. My mother will light her candle, and my mother will pray. And so if whatever happens with my daughter, has been my response. And she's always thinks about stuff like, so-and-so passed away and I'm thinking about him. And like, it's all right. You don't have to get emotional. You can if you want to. You don't have to get emotional. Be happy. Say a prayer. and thank God. And those are that's what I tell my oldest daughter right now, because she's starting to, even at that young age, starting to connect, everything, not just happiness, but connect sadness, and how she can get out of that sadness or tribulation, whatever is going on at that time. Like, it's okay. Jesus is gonna help us, or whatever, just to connect those dots. And it's crazy because I didn't connect that really. Like, I thank God for everything. It's normalcy for me. I've been taught that, and my parents taught me that. But until I see my little 6-year-old connecting those dots, and I'm like, man, that's she truly is connecting those dots and seeing how God is helping her with this situation, with this situation, with this situation. And I had been struggling with that forever. Wow. Oh, as a mature person going through mature things, and maybe you can equate some of the stuff that she's going through as a kid, but not really, right? You can't. But she's still at every moment now is starting to think like, okay, it's all right, Dad.
Yeah, girls are smart. It sounds like she is looking at y'all's life and almost like sitting on the sidelines, noticing what God's doing, and it's like bringing it to light for you.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I'm the one who taught her that, but whenever I see her responses and see her sitting there thinking about stuff or whatever, or using her imagination, like I could hear her in the tub when she's in the tub and I'm listening or whatever, and she's going through stuff that we go through on a daily basis with her toys or whatever, and she'll randomly say, "It's okay, Jesus loves you," or whatever. It's that's the stuff that, it makes me happy, because maybe I'm doing something right.
Right, you're leading her in the right way. I love that, man, and I honor that. You keep doing what you're doing. We are all on course, all being molded. Everyone's on a different path, but it must be on the path going to the one Most High Father.
Yeah, for sure. As a life coach, you're awesome, man. Like,
I appreciate you. I'm humbled to take that. Thank you.
Really. I mean, it's like a Christian life too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if like you think of a life coach, you think of somebody, I don't know, I've always thought of like one you see on TV, right? But for you, you're also honestly like, you really are discipling, and like fully, because the way you put things out in front of us, like the way you put them out, like, man, that stuff sinks in, and it's like you can really relate to the issue. Like, so I really think you're awesome on that, man. Like, as a life trainer, you're the first one, honestly. You know what I mean? Like that. So yeah, it's really, you really are what you say you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, some guys can probably say I'm a life trainer, and you know what I mean? You know they don't know what they're doing.
Well, it depends on what you want to do, right? Like, we're Christians and we're in the oil business, right? So what you say, and we love sports, right? So what you say really resonates with us. So I think, and I think like Garrett will resonate with a lot of people, maybe people that have gone through the tribulations similar to himself, right? So I think you were the perfect person, the perfect vessel, if you will, whatever, for this podcast, right? Because it's in our realm. Everything that you speak about or have experienced or whatever, it's in our realm, and we like to talk about it, and it's interesting to us. So I think the listeners will really like it, and hopefully this podcast serves you as well. If somebody wants to see how you speak, or see you kind of out of your business, out of your business, right? Because at the end of the day, it is a business, and so out of your business in this podcast, just speaking to us, I think, man, that speaks volumes at not just your skill level, but your drive. Drive for what you're doing. So it really comes out, man. So, congrats on that and everything else that you're doing, man. It sounds like you're making a huge difference, and man, we're gonna keep eyes on you always, like we do everybody that we have on the podcast. And if you all ever need any help or whatever, reaching out to this podcast, you'll have a friend in the Patch Boys, right?
Well, I appreciate it. Right now, I think my biggest asks are, we're building the fund for the youth sports for FCA, and we have a match that we can match with one of the nonprofits here. And so If you want to give money, I'd say give money to FCA Youth Sports. That I can get y'all the link. Like, that is huge right now. We're trying to do a blitz. There's a lot of big things going on. We need to make sure that we hire a director for that. We're building the board. There's a lot of good people on that. And so that's one of the big asks. The other ask, please go check out Oilfield Assembly and just try it out. Give me critiques as much as you can because I want to continue to build that up. And then for the men that get to listen to this podcast, I'm recruiting you. Like, we need more strong men in the Permian Basin. And recruiting could look like anything. Be a disciple maker. You need to find someone to disciple you, just ask. We'll get you the right people. You want guys to hang around with, just ask. You want things to go do around youth sports, we will fill that for you. And that's the reality. We're going to go find these men, we're going to train them up, and we're going to change households.
Oh, love that, man.
Awesome, man.
I'm going to make something out of that for sure. 100%, man. But
for sure.
Yeah, we'll support you on everything, especially FCA. I really did love what FCA does. So yeah, you send me a link, we'll put it on there. We'll get everything going on that. But I really appreciate you coming on. I was I had a different narrative when you first came on. I was like, well, I'll probably push the tech thing. But for some reason, like, we talked about tech, but this was what came out. And I prayed before this podcast because I wanted to be, I always want the Lord to lead me, right? I'll do it every podcast, honestly. Yeah. So, but like this one, I was just like, I'm glad the way it went. I'm glad what we heard because I needed to hear it. Yeah. And I think what you were pouring to people is awesome, man. So, thank you again for that. And, but yeah, I appreciate everything. And we'll have the episode out, go from there.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate all the listeners. Thank you.
Shout out to all my Oilfield boys out there, the Patch boys. Y'all are the ones that make everything happen. I appreciate y'all having me on. I honor y'all for making this thing reality. So thank y'all so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right, guys, check out our sponsor, Underdog Wireline. I know you heard of them, but I'm going to remind you guys, they offer wireline services from anything from open hole to completion. They do logging, they do frac jobs, they do about pretty much anything you want. They also offer layout machines. They got a slick line. They even got a torque test now. So, give these guys a call. We're going to have all the links in the description below us. Give them a shout out. They're a local business out of Midland, Texas, and they really are a great company, man. So, show them support like you support us. Appreciate it.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Patch Boys again, here to announce yet another sponsor, Branded 14 Hot Shot Services, LLC. They offer hot shot work, ESP spooling, ESP technician service, and heavy hauling with semis. These guys are local. They're helping us out, so we want to help them out. Go give them a call at 432-638-1755. All the other information we're going to put right down here, so you guys can give them a call, send them an email, however you need to get in contact with them. We appreciate it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Patch Boys here. Blessed again to be announcing another sponsor for us. This one's going to be Titan. They're running out of crane. They're real close to me. It's family. So we want you guys to support them like they support us, right? So they're running out of crane. If you want to get in contact with them, it's 432-307-1960. Some of the stuff that they offer right now, if they have rustabout maintenance crews, trash trailers, porta potties, combo trailers, forklifts, and they're adding more stuff every single day. So if you guys want to support them so they can continue to support us and give you all the content that you want, go ahead and give them a call. Thank you.